Chapter 244. The Sun Temple. A good day's journey from Hanoch towards the south, on a completely bare rocky mountain, one of the most suspicious temples was erected, in which the sun was worshipped. But why was this temple so suspicious? A closer look at it will make this clear. The temple was completely round. One half of the temple had a solid wall, while the other half was open and consisted of 6 pillars that supported the conical round roof. On the side of the wall facing the evening, the priestly dwelling was firmly attached and had room for 100 priests and was the same height as the temple, which was 10 klafter high and the same in diameter. Right in the middle of the fixed wall of the temple was a finely polished concave mirror, 2 klafter in diameter, made of thick sheet gold, which could be directed back and forth and up and down in all degrees of a semicircle by means of an elaborate mechanism. At a distance of exactly 10 klafter from the focal point, towards the evening, round sacrificial altars 5 feet high and 4 feet in diameter were placed between the 6 pillars. An underground passageway led from the priest's quarters directly under the central altar, which was naturally the middle one of the 5 altars between the 6 pillars. This altar was hollow. Underneath it was a lifting machine, which lifted a stone plunger that fitted exactly into the hollow of the altar. When the sacrificing priest in his gold robe wanted to enter the temple, which was surrounded by the people, he stood on the stone plunger and was lifted up by a machine, naturally raised the golden lid of the altar with his head, and in this way suddenly stood on the altar as if by magic, with a golden hammer in his hand. When the people went up and saw for themselves that the altar was made of solid stone, through which no natural man could penetrate, they regarded the priest as a superior being. Then the priest covered the altar again and muttered some unintelligible words, and then knocked 3 times on the lid of the altar. And immediately the lid was lifted again, and a second priest, provided with incense, came out. The operation was repeated 3 more times. Then the middle altar was firmly closed. The 4 other altars were covered, and the 4 sacrificial priests placed their incense on the white stone slabs. When the incense had been laid, the priests worshipped the concave mirror, which had the shape of the sun. The high priest, however, tapped on another plate with a hammer, and immediately the otherwise concealed concave mirror was uncovered and turned by an internal mechanism controlled by an artisan. The powerful focal point now fell on one of the 4 sacrificial altars and instantly consumed the easily ignitable incense. When the incense on all 4 altars had been consumed, a speaker stood on the middle altar and gave a terrible speech to the people, showing that the sun was completely under the control of this temple. Therefore, the people had to sacrifice mightily if they wanted to have good days and a good year. I need say no more about this work of Satan, for any thinking person can easily see what effect this deception must have had on the very dark people. More in this vein next time.